Before I tell you what happened, before I open up about the strangest and most unexpected chapter of my life, I need you to do something real quick. Just one thing. If you've ever felt invisible, if you've ever sat in a quiet house and realized the silence was getting louder every year, if you've ever wondered whether life still had surprises left for you, then hit subscribe, because this story, it's not loud. It's not some over-the-top Hollywood romance with dramatic music and perfect people. Nah, this story is softer than that. But trust me, soft stories hit different. They sneak up on you, they settle in your chest, and weeks later, you're still thinking about them at 2 a.m. So if you're here, stay. Because what started with a broken coffee machine ended up changing the way I looked at loneliness, love, and myself. And honestly, I never saw it coming. 8 was a regular Tuesday morning. Gray skies, cold air. The kind of morning where the world feels stuck on autopilot. My coffee machine had officially died the night before with one sad little sputter like it had clocked out of life completely. And for someone like me, coffee wasn't optional. At 60 years old, routines become sacred. Tiny comforts start carrying emotional weight. So I threw on my favorite oversized cardigan, tied my hair into a lazy bun, grabbed my purse, and headed downtown. I wasn't trying to impress anybody. Those days felt long. Gone. My kids were grown. My marriage had ended 15 years earlier. And after a couple painfully awkward dating, attempts that felt more like job interviews than romance, I tapped out, completely. Some people call it peace. Others call it giving up. Honestly, maybe it was both. My house had become my safe place. Books stacked beside the couch, old jazz records, late-night movies playing while I fell asleep halfway through them. And yeah, certain private little comforts too. The kind nobody expects a woman my age to have. The kind people pretend older women don't even think about. But loneliness makes people creative. And life? Life has a funny way of exposing the all parts of ourselves we try hardest to hide. The appliance store downtown was small and old-fashioned, not one of those giant corporate spots with bright LED lights and employees who look dead inside. This place had personality. Rows of shiny kettles, espresso machines, coffee, grinders humming softly in the background. That's where I met Jake. He stood behind the counter fixing some crooked display with the kind of focus people usually save for art. Projects, tall, lean, messy, brown hair, easy smile. And those eyes, man. They had this warmth to them that instantly made you feel comfortable. Couldn't have been older than 23. Young enough to make the whole situation feel ridiculous before it even started. Need help finding something? He asked, walking over. I'm just here for a coffee maker, I replied casually. He grinned. Well, good news. You came to the nerdiest coffee guy in town. I laughed before I could stop myself. And honestly, that surprised me. We started talking, not flirting. Exactly, just talking about coffee, about terrible instant brands, about how expensive machines somehow still break at the worst possible time, but there was something easy about him. No fake. Charm, no rehearsed. Lines. Just genuine energy. And after years of conversations that felt forced and dry, that kind of sincerity hit me hard. He showed me a sleek little coffee machine and explained how it worked with ridiculous enthusiasm. This thing is low-key elite, he said proudly. Makes mornings feel less illegal. I laughed again. God, I hadn't laughed that naturally in forever. When I bought the machine, he offered to carry it to my car. Then halfway to the door, he glanced at me. You live nearby? Just a few blocks. He nodded slowly, then shrugged. Honestly, I'm on break anyway. I could help set it up if you want. I blinked at him. You want to come to my house and install a coffee maker? He laughed. When you say it like that, it sounds sketchy as hell. I should have said no. A smart person probably would have. But something inside me, something lonely and tired and quietly hopeful, said yes. The walk home felt strangely comfortable. No awkward silence, no pressure. Just two people walking side by side through cold morning air. And somewhere during that walk, I realized how long it had been since somebody simply enjoyed my company. When we got to my house, I opened the front door without thinking. Huge mistake. Because the second Jake stepped inside, my stomach dropped. The living room. Oh my God. On the couch, in plain sight, were things I absolutely should have put away the night before. Private things, intimate things, the kind society pretends women over 50 magically stop. Owning, my face instantly went hot. Jake noticed. Of course he noticed. His eyes paused for maybe half a second before he looked back at me calmly. "You live alone, huh?" he asked gently. I wanted the floor to swallow me whole. "Can we just pretend you didn't see any of that?" I muttered. But instead of acting weird, instead of judging me, Jake smiled softly. "Hey," he said, "it's really not a big deal." "Feels like one." "We all got stuff that helps us cope," he replied casually. "No shame in that. And y'all," that moment hit deeper than it should have, because he wasn't laughing at me, wasn't uncomfortable, wasn't treating me like some embarrassing old woman, caught doing something pathetic. He was treating me like a human being, like a woman, like someone still capable of wanting things. I didn't realize how badly I needed that until then. We moved into the kitchen, and Jake started setting up the machine while I leaned against the doorway, pretending my heart wasn't acting completely unhinged. "So," I teased nervously, "do you always rescue middle-aged women with broken appliances?" "Only the cool ones," he shot back instantly. Smooth. "Nah," he grinned. "Just honest." The machine finally hissed to life, filling the kitchen with the rich smell of fresh coffee. Jake poured us each a cup and lifted his mug slightly. "To random Tuesdays." I smiled. "To coffee addiction." We drank quietly for a second, and somehow the silence felt nice, comfortable, not heavy like the silence I was used to. Jake looked around my kitchen. "You know what I like about your place?" "What?" "It feels real." I laughed softly. "That's a nice way of saying cluttered." "No," he said seriously. "I mean warm, like somebody actually lives here." That one sentence almost broke me, because after years of feeling invisible, being seen felt terrifying. Eventually, he checked the time and sighed. "I should probably head back." I nodded, trying not to look disappointed. Then he paused at the door. "Would it be weird if I came by again sometime?" There it was, that shift, that tiny crack where possibility sneaks in. I swallowed, carefully. "I think I'd like that." His smile widened. "Cool. Next time I'll bring muffins." And just like that, he was gone. But the energy he left behind stayed. The house felt different after that. Lighter somehow. Like somebody had opened a window inside me I forgot existed. That night, I barely slept. I kept replaying everything. His smile, his voice, the way he looked at me without pity. And honestly, that scared me, because hope at my age feels dangerous. You tell yourself you're too old for butterflies, too wise for fantasy. But feelings don't care about logic. The next morning, I cleaned the entire house like a maniac, folded blankets, vacuumed rugs, put away every personal item that could possibly traumatize me again. Around noon, the doorbell rang. My heart literally skipped. Nobody ever came over unannounced. Anymore. Nobody. I opened the door. Jake stood there holding a paper bag. "I brought muffins," he said, proudly. I laughed immediately. "That's dangerously charming." "Yeah, I've been told I'm a problem." He walked inside like he belonged there. And weirdly enough, It felt natural. We sat together drinking coffee and eating blueberry muffins while sunlight poured through the kitchen. Hours passed without either of us noticing. We talked about everything: his dreams, my regrets, music, books, fear, loneliness. At one point, he looked at me quietly. "You seem strong," he said, "but also kinda lonely." I stared down at my coffee cup, because he was right, and hearing someone say it out loud made my chest ache. "I made peace with being alone," I admitted softly. Jake tilted his head. "Maybe you weren't supposed to." God. That line wrecked me. Weeks passed. Then more. Jake kept showing up, sometimes for 10 minutes, sometimes for hours, and slowly, my house stopped feeling like a cage. One evening, while golden sunlight spilled across the living room, I noticed him sketching in his notebook again. "What are you always drawing?" He hesitated before handing it over. Inside were sketches of buildings, street corners, and me. Not directly, but pieces of my world. My bookshelf, my favorite chair, the little cat figurine,